second. So you're just going to look at us looking?
For a long time, it was a hugely high-profile story, and still is as the investigations continue. And therefore, in a sense, the government does particularly want to be seen at the moment to be doing something about the issue of modern slavery. And perhaps it also feels that this is a moment when the attention around some of these issues can be capitalized on.
Going on 1 minute.
So the proposals that have been outlined by the government have been published.
We'll edit this out. It also gets edited.
Yeah,
so there's what is being shown right now. Something's tuned in. They're seeing us in here looking at each other. And then when we put it on archive it, which means that 6 months from now, you want to watch yourself or someone putting your family on, they'll be able to go to this YouTube channel and watch this program. And then,
Diane, do you want when we play the disc, at a quarter to, do you want to go off? You want the mic turned off?
Yes.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Okay. One reason I do it, I'm going to start doing it a few minutes before we start. These people are tuning in, and I don't want to have a flag so they know that you're ready to go. Just for everyone with future story. You all can say whatever, something to union. Forward to the union.
Okay, here we go.
The Labor Forum is brought to you each week by your Teamster friends and neighbors. The Teamsters have over a century of experience in enriching and protecting the rights of workers nationwide, and they continue to build on that proud legacy every day. With 1.4 million members, 30% of whom are women, Teamsters can be found in almost every major industry. They're the hard-working men and women whose jobs have always helped keep America strong, while providing the goods and services that keep the country running smoothly. Want more information? www.teamster.org.
I'm looking for you to go.
We love the ship, we run the land. We build the bridges,
Yes, we do.
we fly the plane, we do the work. This is our way. We do the work. Home, home. We do the work. Home.
And welcome to the Labor Forum here at WRFG 89.3 FM in Atlanta. My name is Diane Mathowitz. I'm the host and producer of this program, and I'm a retired auto worker, worked for General Motors for more than 30 years on the assembly lines, building cars, trucks, and vans. And I'm so excited about today's program. For those of you who are watching on the Labor Forum YouTube channel, you see that we have a full house of workers who have just had an extraordinary victory both at Agnes and at Clark Atlanta universities. These are cafeteria workers, and we'll be talking to them in just a minute. As you know, the opinions that are expressed on this program may not necessarily be those of the board of directors, staff, or volunteers here at WRFG. But you also know, those of you who are listeners of WRFG, that our mission is to provide media space, a time and a place for people who are left out, lied about, and demonized on big business media. And certainly the Labor Forum provides a very important part of that mission, because we bring workers, those who do the work, as the song starts this program off, who do all the work that makes society run, whether here in Atlanta, around the U.S., or anywhere in the whole wide world. It's all happening because of workers like the ones that are in the studio today. So I'm going to introduce everybody. Sitting right next to me is Kelly Thomas.
Hello.
Kelly is from Agnes Scott. Next to her is Ms. Rhoda Eccles, and she
Hello.
is from Clark, Atlanta. Behind Kelly is Deborah Robertson, and she also is from Agnes Scott. And next to her is Terrence Davis, who also works at Clark Atlanta University. Now, both of your campuses, you all have just recently had union elections, and the union won. In other words, the majority of workers wanted a union. So I'm going to ask each one of you, kind of in turn here, to tell our listeners and our viewers how long you've been working, what you do for starts. We'll start with you.
Okay, so my name is Kelly Thomas. I've been working at Agnes Scott for 7 years, and I'm the grill cook over there.
Ms. Rhoda.
Hi, I'm Rhoda Eccles. I've been working at Clark Atlanta University for 6 years. I'm a line server.
Hi, my name is Deborah Robinson. I'm a grill cook at Agnes Scott College, and I've been there for 6.5 years.
Terrence.
I'm Terrence Davis. I work at Clark Atlanta University. I've been there for 11 years, and I'm a cook.
I should have asked you what your wage was, if you don't mind telling people. Now you've been at all of you have been at this job for a long time, years.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, can you tell us what our listeners and our viewers, what kind of money you make an hour?
I can. I think that my situation might be slightly different from others, so if I can pass on it,
Okay.
be good.
Okay. Ms. Rhoda?
$9.75.
11.75.
Great. That's better.
And I make $9.79.
Okay, so there's been a whole movement across the country of low-wage workers to get the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. And as I've mentioned on this program before, that if the minimum wage had kept up with the cost of living, the minimum wage today would be over $22 an hour. So even though a few of you at Agnes Scott make a little more money than those at Clark Atlanta, and also fast food workers and a lot of low-wage workers, janitors and hotel workers and Walmart workers, etc., it still is nowhere near what it takes to live in today's economy. So I'm going to again ask each one of you in turn what it was that prompted you to join a union organizing drive. So what were the conditions, or what was your situation that when this idea came up, because we're in a right-to-work state, a lot of anti-union rhetoric comes from bosses, a lot of intimidation. So if you wouldn't mind, each one of you tell me and our listeners why you decided to step forward and help organize a union.
This is Kelly. I decided to step forward because work was being done before this came about for the union. So for us, it was just a natural progression, actually. So because we've been fighting the union that we're part of at Agnes Scott is Campaign for Living Wages, and so we've been doing the work on the groundwork for a minute. The other thing is that there's already a union on our campus, so definitely that was the impetus for us. What's good for the gooses, even better for the gander. That's my train of thought, and so that's how that came.
Can I just do a little follow-up? Who are the other workers that already had a union?
Agnes Scott, they have a union.
I know, but which kind of workers?
Dining hall workers,
Oh.
facilities.
Okay.
Yes, they are the party. Those who are hired by Agnes
Oh,
Scott.
hired by Agnes Scott.
Correct.
You
Two
work,
different, right?
and who do you work for?
Airmark.
You're an Airmark worker.
Yes.
Okay. Really?
I'm Rhoda at Clark. What prompted me to want to start the union is for better wages, better working conditions, fair treatment towards the workers, for us not to be intimidated by some of our supervisors and the GM there, and just a better workplace for all the co-workers, so we can all be on an equal level playing field. Don't have workers against each other and favoritism and everything.
With me, I think more so seniority, favoritism, treating one employee different than the next employee, people's having to have to argue with each other about work, who does, and not having a work title.
And Terrence?
For me, it was started about being in the union before and seeing that the difference between coming from a union shop versus being in a non-union shop, and helping, you know, the workers at Ray Morehouse start a union and seeing the different steps and the better working conditions that they had versus Clark Atlanta University. We're right there by each other, but one has a union, the other one didn't at the time. And just seeing how, you know, each year they didn't have to worry about whether I'm gonna get a raise or I'm gonna have this job. It was in their contract. And, you know, looking at my workers face to face and, you know, struggling to pay their bills, and it just prompted me a little bit more to fight, to, you know, organize.
Let me ask another follow-up question, because one of the things people have sort of mentioned, are all of you work for a subcontractor?
Yes.
So you work for Aramark and
Sodexo.
And you're Sodexo. So I think listeners need to kind of have this idea. There, in many workplaces now, food services, and a lot of other things too, janitorial, are now subcontracted out. So the big institution, whether it's a university, sometimes a hospital, a building, whatever, there's a difference between the workers that are hired directly by whatever that institution is, and then the workers that work for a subcontracted company.
Yes.
Quite often, big difference in wages and benefits.
Yes.
So these two companies, Sodexo and Aramark, are huge corporations who have historically made tremendously big profits off of these contracts that they have, and then they pay workers really very low wages, very low benefits. Let me ask all of you again, is the fact that there are organizing drives both at Aramark and Sodexo around the country, did that help you all, or did you feel that, well, let me ask that. Did you feel that that there were other places that had Sodexo and Aramark, some who were unionized and many who weren't? Was that a help?
For me, I was not aware of what was going on with other Aramark contracts and locations. Okay, there's that. I want to, if I may, though, to piggyback on Terrence, because the other thing is with this subcontract is that the treatment, that is that big difference. And I mean, it's eye-opening because we're not aware sometimes of what goes on. You know what I mean? We're on the same campus, and I would say that for Deborah, she worked in a different building. And some of the stuff that they dealt with, I never knew just because we was in a different building. But one of the things that they were very big on was that separatism. We call ourselves the stepchildren. You know, seriously, because again, like him, side by side, I'm right beside this worker. She's Agnes Scott, I'm Aramark. She's getting different benefits. They're covered. They are covered. You understand me? So that was definitely that didn't sit well with me, because we're all human beings. You know what I'm talking about? We all doing the same work. So there's that. And then to go on to answer your question, no, I was not aware that it was going on, you know, across the country. But when I found out that Aramark had unions at other campuses, for me, it was like a no-brainer. Really, if there's no campus, we can definitely bring it here.
Somebody from Clark Atlanta want to address that?
I'll address it. I've been around this campaign for a long time, the Sodexo campaign. I believe it started around like 2009, and other universities from across the country, i.e., the workers in New Orleans, had contracts. The school system had the contracts. Also, workers at Dillard and Xavier had contracts. And to find out the things that they had in their contract, every 6 months we get a 50-cent raise. You know, I was like, the last time I had a raise was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And to see how those people were surviving after Katrina, and, you know, the fight that they had, you know, a lot of them didn't have, you know, jobs, because a lot of Katrina swept them out. So a lot of those workers who had unions while they was with Sodexo came here and got jobs with Sodexo and lost a lot of those benefits that they had at their original university. So that really kind of pushed me. And then the fight was, you know, from Ohio to California, all these workers with the same goal. And it really pushed me, you know, to come back and educate the workers at my university. Look here, this is what's going on across the country. It's just not at Clark Atlanta University. This is a global fight. And once I educate them and started telling them, they kind of got fed up, and it really pushed a lot of workers to, you know, form a union.
I should say that both of those companies are international companies, so they don't just have contracts here in the United States or, you know, in the South or in Georgia or Atlanta. They are, in fact, worldwide companies. And so, so again, I want to congratulate all of you, because this victory that you've achieved here is no doubt. There's some workers elsewhere in this city, in this state, around the country, and around the world who've said, oh, they achieved a union at Agnes Scott, they did it at Clark Atlanta, let me get on it too. All right, so we're going to be right back after we have this brief message, and then we will talk about what this union contract and the win means concretely to these brothers and sisters.
The Seven on the School of Common Voice presents an encore screening of the independent Atlanta-based documentary Food, Clothing, and Shelter. This film explores the connection between urban farming, homelessness, and self-sustainability.
That's why they utilize that
aka Street Nurse. Screening will be on Thursday, December 19th, 7 to 9 p.m. and 7 on the Education Room, 465 Woodland Avenue, Northeast.
Okay, so when we go back, then I'll ask
begin at 11:30 p.m. There will be a Q&A session after the film on Thursday. For more information, it's 404-604-7779. This is another public service announcement brought to you by your listener sponsor and supported from the Mini Radio 89.3 FM.
Hi, this is Diane Mathowitz again, and we're back on the Labor Forum. In the studio, we have 4 of the victorious cafeteria workers who work at Clark Atlanta University and at Agnes Scott, who recently just achieved election victories on their campuses. They are all cafeteria workers who work for Aramark and Sodexo. Right before we took that brief break, we were talking about some of the situations on their job, and Deborah wants to tell us a little bit. One of the things I do want to ask now is, now that you organized and united your workforce, what kind of changes or what kind of atmosphere do you feel that the victory has brought about, and what is it that you see as you negotiate your contract? You want to start, Deborah?
With us, I think it'd be more like as far as having temps to come in over us, that probably was some of us was trying to get on the day shift and we couldn't get there, but they would bring temps in who has the day shift. And basically the situation as far as discrimination, a lot of us feel like that we was looked down on as far as discriminating goes, to whereas we would bring an outsider in, they would be over employees who've been out.
Let me make sure I have this, understand this correctly. So essentially you're saying that when Aramark had a shortage for some reason, they wouldn't hire anybody permanently, but they would bring in somebody from a temp agency, and that person could work for months? Months. Yeah. Okay, and they're still temps, so they're in a really bad situation too. As we know, temporaries oftentimes are exploited a lot. But what happened is that they were putting them in more preferential jobs and shifts.
Right, because they bring the temp in that made supervisor over people who've been there years.
Wow.
So.
Right. Wow. Right. Yeah.
All right. So so let me keep on with Agnes Scott then a little bit more. All right. So now you've had your union victory, and you're going to be negotiating a contract. All right, so what are the kinds of things that you hope or anticipate that you're going to get in this contract that might address some of these issues?
To be able to recognize the seniority peoples, and more so to workers be able to speak instead of feel like they're scared to go to our supervisors and say what's on their mind instead of have to speak to another employee about it and nothing else get done.
Let me ask you, when there's a job opening, is it posted now, or does the management just choose who they want to do? Okay. Well, now, posting of a job is usually a main element of any union contract, that jobs have to get posted so that you have an opportunity to move from a different job and to different hours. All right, let me ask the same question of our Clark Atlanta team here. So,
that was a big problem at Clark by posting positions to move up a level. Clark, they were even breaking their own policy when the position opened, they were supposed to post it, which it had not been. But recently, since we have a union now, they have been posting them. They were breaking their own rules. So now they're being called to the table where they have to go by the rules and regulations.
Okay, is there any other thing that you're hoping that you will get in your contract that addresses something that really, makes you all just?
If I may, I really want to say, yay, first of all, because this is really a big thing. I've been working on this not by myself, but this is like my life's work, if you will. So I've been working on this for a minute, and I think that I would be remiss not to acknowledge, some of the support. Our students, what the girls from Agnes Scott College, they're champions in my book, and they have been staunch supporters. Yes. So, kudos to them. All right, because without that, about this other thing about the things that we're looking for, one of the main things is about when we say atmosphere, right? Just working, that's one thing, but it's about the conditions that I'm working up under. To me, that's critical, not just for myself personally, but for the other workers, because that takes its toll as well. When you have one person doing 3 and 4 jobs, you understand me, and you're not getting any more money for it. And what she was talking about was the fact that they bring people from outside the temp service, and they have hired them in a position over workers that's been there for 6 and 7 years. These people walking it in, they're coming in, giving them those choice hours or whatever the case may be. That's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable as far as the posting. No, they haven't been posted. But those are the major things, and what for us to understand too, that I've been told that the easy part has been done. That's what I've been told. So it's the hard work that's getting ready to come in now. But I want for my peoples, when I say to understand this, we can ask for money, but it's not just like that. We must open our minds to something bigger, because it's about benefits as well to carry over, for when they're not paying us money. And I would like to bring back a couple of programs as possible at our location, that matching, that 401 matching. The thing about they used to have it for employees, if I work there, my child can go to school there. They stopped that. Yeah. So those are some things.
Did either of you have something you want for the Clark contract?
My biggest thing is having a voice on your job. It's not what the boss says anymore. It's, what I say goes. And that was the type of atmosphere we had before we had a union. And also before we started to organize, bring in organizers to help us out. Before it was, I call you in the office, you're by yourself with a manager and a supervisor. Now we have the right, if I be pulled in the office, right, I can bring Ms. Rhoda in, yes, and she's my backup. Yes. Now you have to provide proof of what's going on. Mm-hmm. What's your facts for bringing me in the office? So now we have that right to do that now.
Let me ask one more question. Now, are you all laid off over the summer, and were you affected last year when the Secretary of Labor here in Georgia arbitrarily decided that you didn't qualify for unemployment, even though unemployment's been being paid for you?
So a resounding yes. Yes. Resounding. Yes. Yeah, we was there on the steps. We had to reel it back. Yeah, we went to the steps of the building. Yeah, asked him to come out. But anyway.
I believe.
So, yeah, we was affected by it.
I believe without labor unions and labor fights. I give kudos to Jobs with Justice for helping us out. Those group of young men and guys stood with us through the fight, and we marched from Clark Atlanta University all the way downtown.
Yes.
And it was a long walk, trust me.
Yes.
But it paid off.
Yeah.
We don't give up.
Yeah.
It's something that you believe in. We have the money invested in it. Pay us for those weeks. But we got all that money back.
Yeah, I think we had several programs on the Labor Forum during that whole fight, talking about how this had been the policy for years and how the recently elected Secretary of Labor just decided he wasn't going to do it, and that he got called on the carpet and had to pay you all back. Clearly, though, it looks as though with this legislative session coming up, they may try to figure out how to actually put that into law. So there's clearly another fight that we're going to have to do over unemployment. And of course, Georgia has reduced the amount of weeks that somebody can have, and here in this state with so much unemployment.
Yeah.
And so the crisis of all the workers who are barely getting by is a big one, and one we really do thank you for coming in and telling this story. I do want to ask, we didn't recognize that they were here in the studio, but we also have two of the other organizers who helped you all achieve your victory.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And they didn't want to be on air. Because they want, in fact, as we'd like to do on this program, is talk to the people who are the real deal, or the ones that experience the situations on the job and are the ones that take the step forward to change it. So the Labor Forum, me personally, all of WRFG really does congratulate you on this victory. One of the things I want to ask finally, how many people are in your bargaining unit at Agnes, roughly? 20-something?
Yeah.
Now, is it all women, mostly?
No, so happens. I know we're women's college, but no, we've been blessed with some men that are, that are standing. They're fed up as well. So that was a big coup for us. We was happy with that.
Okay, let me ask the same question about Clark Atlanta. How many are in this bargaining unit, and what's the breakdown?
The last numbers that we checked on was about 54 workers that are part of the bargaining unit. This includes the hourly employees.
And is this situation, I imagine this is true on almost all of these institutions who have multiple grills and multiple dining rooms and, snack bars and whatever, that you are in fact kind of divided all across kind of a big space. So did you two know each other before? You didn't know each other, even though you were in different buildings. Did you two know each other? Were you in the...
We're in the same.
We're in the same building.
Yeah, in the same building.
Yeah. I cook for Miss Rose.
Well, in the last couple minutes that we have, is there anything that we didn't say to folks out there about how important it is and how happy you are about having the possibility of a real contract where you've got a voice on the job?
I would like to say to any worker, stand up for your rights. Don't be afraid. Speak out. That's your right. Stand up for yourself.
All right, now all of you are part of the SEIU Workers United. If there's anybody out there who's interested, who thinks, well, maybe this is my time, I've had enough of low wages and bad treatment, how can they get in touch with your union organizers?
You can call at 770-306-8856. You can get Miss Willie Jones.
Well, you want to do that number just one more time in case somebody has a little time and go get a pencil.
Okay. That's 770-306-8856. Miss Willie Jones.
Superstar. The superstar is actually here in the studio, and we want to thank her for all her efforts. We want to especially thank all of you for coming in. I know you're on your Christmas break, and that was why you were able to actually come in, otherwise you'd be working. And the Labor Forum thanks you so much. And we hope that we'll see you back again,
Yes.
and that we'll try to bring some more campuses online with union contracts. And all fast food workers, all low-wage workers, all retail workers, all service workers who are in kind of the same situation you were with, a lot of discrimination, not enough hours, no benefits. This is all something that's got to change.
Yes. Yes.
So this is Diane Mathowitz saying goodbye for today. Thank you so much for both listening on your radio, on your computer, on your device, and those of you who got the great chance to see us as we do this program and see the WRFG studio right behind you. All right, I want to thank Sharon for being our technician on the board, and Ozzy for working on the camera here to get us all set up visually. I'll see you all again tomorrow, Wednesday, 4:30 to 5, here on the Labor Forum on WRFG 89.3 FM in sunny Atlanta.
All right.
So the song.
Exploitation. What you gonna do?
This is not fun.
Yeah, you can find it.
We will not obey racism.
This is you.
We will not obey.
You can have the two best.